Good morning. Abstinence. Experience strength and hope from members of Overeaters Anonymous. This story is entitled Handle with Care. I finally made it. 30 days of abstinence. I have had several weeks of abstinence a number of times, but I usually broke it about the 25th or 26th day. I always sabotaged myself in some way as I neared the magical 30-day mark. Now that that day has come and gone, I realize there's nothing magical about 30 days per se, but there is something miraculous about every day of abstinence. As I neared the 30-day mark this most recent time, I saw how poorly I had been treating my very fragile abstinence. I was handling it carelessly, playing with it, almost daring myself to break it. This was most apparent to me during the celebration of a recent holiday. As part of my personal plan, I chose to refrain from traditional binge foods that had always represented joy and celebration, and replace them with good, wholesome foods that my entire family could enjoy. To establish a festive feeling, I prepared the table with the best of everything: fancy placemats, our best china, crystal goblets not used since our wedding, and a crystal candle holder at each setting. The only thing out of place, so to speak, was a cheaper, smaller glass goblet that I set before my 6-year-old daughter. I felt I couldn't quite trust her to handle the large crystal goblet. She cried when she saw that she had a different glass, until she noticed that it too was fancy and delicate. As she handled the smaller goblet, I felt my heart leap into my throat several times. She treated it so roughly, pretending to be toasting with everyone, hitting the glass against every available surface and setting it down a bit too hard after every gulp. Suddenly, I saw myself in her. I had been handling my abstinence roughly also. As I had seen the 30-day mark approach, I was so sure that I would break my abstinence again that I toyed with. I'm going to say that again. I'd seen the 30-day mark approach. Oh my God, take 3. As I'd seen the 30-day mark approach, I was so sure that I would break my abstinence again that I toyed with it. I let myself taste things that I had no business tasting. I wasn't caring for my abstinence lovingly and caringly. Instead, I banged it against every tantalizing situation. No, I never really broke my abstinence, just as my daughter never really broke the goblet, but I had many close calls. And I could tell that my higher power was standing near me, guarding the abstinence so graciously given to me. God reached out to catch me whenever I risked falling, just as I had kept a careful eye on my daughter. My abstinence is so delicate. I know now that even though I have passed the once elusive 30-day mark, I must treat my abstinence with tender loving care and gentleness, lest it be broken. This comes from a member in South Jacksonville, Illinois. Yeah, I mishandled my tender and delicate abstinence yesterday, and I tracked back to the thinking, well, really the behavior. So I ended up, I just wasn't feeling right all day, and I made a choice to not fully prepare food for the day, and I didn't eat breakfast. I waited way too long to eat my first meal, and that threw everything off. And then I was like, whatever, and I didn't really prepare food for work, and I didn't eat. I didn't eat at my normal time at work, and so I ordered food to meet me in my car. And those two combinations are really bad. And I literally had I had a moment when I was ordering the food when I could have chosen a rational amount of food, right? But then I'm like, ooh, am I going to save some money if I order double the amount of food? And I mean, it's so insane that, I mean, that is such a crux for me. And a trigger is to save money by eating awful food. But I think it's savings. It is such a mind slip. And it is diseased thinking to where I think, and it's so that's greed. That is the character defect, is greed and fear of financial. Oh, it's just so sad that that is coupled into this thing that I got, right? So if I track it back, it's I've got to make a commitment to do my morning dew in the morning, and after my morning dew, eat breakfast, and then after breakfast, prepare food for the rest of the day and write it out. Those all those things I didn't do yesterday, and I overate absolutely. I ordered too much food, and even the rationalization. Well, I'll only eat half of it, and then I'll save the other half for when I get home and eat my, well, then it would have been technically 4 meals. So there was no way for me to get out of this mix. Wait, of course there was a way for me to get out of that mix. It was to do what I'm doing today: surrender, ask for God's grace, and do what I'm responsible for doing, which is doing my morning prayers, do the readings, do the writing, make the food plan, eat breakfast in a timely manner, and then set myself up for success with the other 2 meals. That's it. So, um, it's funny when I first read through this, I'm like, whatever. But now that I read it the second time and do the video, it's like, yeah. And the biggest part of this message that really pops out is that it's God's gracious guarding of my fragile abstinence. So, I'm going to acknowledge that I am a compulsive overeater today, and I'm going to do what is necessary to get me through one 24-hour period of abstinent eating. So, thanks for letting me share. Hope you have a great day. Hope you have an abstinent day. Take care. Bye.